What's up, bad bitches of the world? It is Ellis Mate, and we are back with yet again another episode of Confessions of a Queer-Ass Black Boy. I think I kind of forgot the name of the podcast. How are you? How are you doing? How's your October going? Can you believe that it's October? Like, I don't know what the fuck. Like, this year just like seems to go by just like quickly. Like, I remember as a kid, like it seemed like the months and the days couldn't go by any quicker. But like now everything just like zooms by. Like, it's 8 a.m. Next thing I know, right now I'm filming and it's like 4 in the afternoon. Like, I don't know. It's crazy. And then in the midst of all that shit, I have to fucking feed myself. I have to fucking do all the things. It is crazy, but I'm realizing that is life. So yeah. How are you doing? I feel like a thing I used to do in the past is like have you pause a podcast and like answer. So I really want to bring that back. Please pause this podcast and answer the question. I'll wait. I'll fucking wait. I have nowhere else to be. Honestly, like if y'all are in New York, can y'all tell me like what the fuck is up? Like, I promise you last year around this time, it was not giving what it's given. Like, luckily I have a ring light that's giving me like the warmth, but it is dead ass like cold and rainy outside. And I know that is like a side effect of living in this world in like the New York area, but I'm not ready. And I'm so happy that I'm not one of those people that are like, oh my god, New York is like where I want to be forever. Cause like, no, like right now back at home in Georgia, like when I tell y'all like it's sunny, you know, maybe not in Atlanta, cause Atlanta is always weird, but like in a my parents are like giving so much information, it's like warm. I'm like, what the fuck? So I really need I need some warmth in my life. So very not happy about that, but happy to be alive. You know, I'm realizing everything has a silver lining, and the main silver lining is that I'm alive. And I used to be like, that's so like cheesy, but like it's really fucking not. Life can be some things. So I'm very grateful that even though it is fucking cold and rainy, that I have nowhere really to be, and I could just sit in my warm ass house. You already know, like me, the fucking heat is on. Like, don't play with it. So anywho, that's how I've been, basically, a little cold and gloomy. But other than that, I think what's been going on in my life more so has just been like learning to deal with the cold and gloominess, like learning to be more so in the now. The thing that used to really affect me a lot of my life was like in the past, you know, worrying about the past, but then also anticipating the future. And it is just time to accept the now. It is time to accept that it is cold and rainy outside. It's October. You know, it'd be different if it was like June. I'm like, what the fuck? But it's October. Like, this is just a part of life. It's a part of the season. It makes me like cherish more of like when the sun is out, when it is warmer, or even just going outside, like still remembering that like I need to go outside, and just because it's cold and rainy, like learn to accept the cold and rain. I definitely want to send that energy out to you to be like, okay, bitch, there may be something in your life that you're like, bitch, I just am over this. I'm ready for it to be different. You know, I can sit here and be like, I'm ready for it to be summer again. That's I'll be waiting a very fucking long time. And I really would. I really would. So I just need to learn to accept this. Get me a big ass umbrella that is like literally on my list. Like, I have this little lame ass umbrella that like and when I'm in the wind, the bitch is like going up. I'm like, this is ghetto. But I'm gonna get me a big umbrella. So that's exactly what we gonna do. We gonna prepare for the season of your life, girl. Stop complaining that shit ain't going right. Just prepare. Get your shit together. But I feel like the first thing, and I don't know if I said it, is just accept it. Like, accept that it is cold and rainy. Time is moving. Okay, I'm going on a rant, but Lord Jesus. The thing about like recording on my phone, again, I said it, is that like I'd never know if like it's like recording. Like, my biggest fear with recording on my phone is that like my phone's gonna be like, bitch, you have no storage. Cause you already know, like the iPhone really be fucking up. Like, no shade. Sorry, I hope she doesn't hear me. But my iPhone in the past has always been like in the moments where I need her the most, she's like, bitch, delete some shit. I'm like, girl, like relax. Like, let me get through the moment. So, but yeah, it's been like, today has been like one of those really like it's like a little odd, but like odd in an okay way. Like odd where like I wake up, and lately I've been like really trying to put myself on a schedule. This past time I read the 5 a.m. club, and although I have not made it to the 5 a.m. club yet, I've tried to make it to like the 6:30 club, and I'm still struggling. A word of caution: if you are a caffeine freak like me, I don't know what's been going on, but like as of lately, like definitely start like, and if you have trouble sleeping sometimes, like getting to sleep, like definitely start monitoring your caffeine intake level. Like I've been drinking like at least 2 cups of coffee on average a day, but then also I've been like drinking more tea and realizing, fuck, like, oh, tea has caffeine in it. And I'm like adding like 2 bags per cup. So I've just been realizing that I'm like intaking a lot of caffeine. So like lately that's been fucking up my sleep. So I'm trying to take that in better, but anyway, that has nothing to do with it. But today, that has actually a lot to do with it on why I'm having trouble going to sleep and also waking up early. They're connected for sure. So definitely monitor your motherfucking intake of caffeine. But yeah, anywho, so I woke up a little bit later today, and like definitely one of those people that I need to align myself in the morning. I am a morning person, but like in order for me to be okay in the morning, like I need to like be with myself, I need to pray, I need to read my books, I need to, you know, get my jish together. A part of me was like, oh my god, like you need to like hustle, like get out the bed, like you woke up late, like all these tasks started flooding my mind. But then something was like, no, just be peaceful, like relax. Life be lifing. It is October, it is cold, it is rainy and gloomy. There's no reason to really like sit here and stress yourself about, you know, shit that's gonna get done. Like I'm a firm believer that things in my life are gonna work out the way that they need to be worked out. So, you know, sitting here and stressing about like running out the bed and hustling and getting on emails and all these things is just like, it's a little pointless to me. So I am realizing that, but that's just a little caveat today. Okay, hold on, let me refill some water. Stay hydrated, people, okay? Where was I at? I think I was pretty much done with that point. Like learning to just like allow yourself to just be, which kind of really caveats, I don't really know how much of a caveats into like what I really wanted to sit in here and talk about today, which was like a reminder to stop being fucking nice. I know people are like, what? Stop being nice. Yes, stop being fucking nice. Anywho, before I get into that, I want to remind you to go ahead and follow the podcast on Instagram at Confessions of a Queer BLK Boy. Black is, you know, a little short in BLK, so at Confessions of a Queer BLK Boy, and follow us, period. You know, I'm a writer, and like one thing that a blog post that I'm working on is like stop being nice, like, and I felt like why not just do a whole podcast about it, like why not talk about it. But like how I started that out more so was one, a quote by Audre Lorde, which says your silence will not protect you. And I think that is one of the things I'm realizing about my life, or about myself, is that like I often have like resorted to just being silent and like nice and amicable and very palatable in order to protect myself from like the judgments and like the comments and the actions of others. You know, like I've, you know, just been accustomed to thinking that like nice people get places, and it's like, no, nice people do not get anywhere in this motherfucking life. But I guess like more niceness, but like do they really get the things that they want? I don't really know. But like I've realized that for me in my life, no, it gets me nowhere. Being nice takes me back to like my corporate days, like when I was in the office with all those like white people, and a lot of the conversations that we had were just so fucking like placid, like flat, like dumb, like, you know, they really meant nothing to me or my life. They didn't know me, you know. And I can think of particularly like my manager, how like a lot of the things that like would be said to me, not only just by her, but like by other people, any type of concern that I'd have was always met with niceness and, oh, like, you know, like kind of like seeking the best in people, which I think is not a bad quality, to like want the best or like, you know, just assume the best. But like I feel like I'm realizing that life is about assuming what's fucking right there in your fucking face. Like if someone's fucking rude to you, we're not, it's not time to just assume that like they didn't mean it that way. Like, no, like acknowledge what the fuck they meant and how the fuck they meant it and what the fuck they said and move accordingly. I'm not saying cuss people out all the fucking time, but I'm realizing that it's really about setting boundaries about where you will and will not go. And I realized that a lot of my life I did not have boundaries. Taking it back to childhood, I was definitely, my parents, I wonder if they watch this. I don't think they watch this, so. But this is not a bashing of parents, because another thing that I'm realizing, that we're all victims of victims. Like, my parents couldn't have taught me anything that they did not know. So, giving them grace. But I think realizing that, like, for a person like me who was, like, also a product of divorce and, like, parents who were, like, going through shit and, like, dealing with life, and also pretty young parents. Like, my parents were in their 20s when they had me, early 20s. They had so much growing to do. Their personalities were still shifting. But I think I realized a lot of my childhood was met with me needing to be very adaptable to their lives. Like, I realized that kids unfortunately are taken advantage of often during their childhood because they are so adaptable, which is a good thing for their learning. But when their learning is at the cost of their needs, I realized that is fucked up, and I realized that was a lot of what my childhood was. Like, it was a lot. For example, it was like, where do you want to spend Christmas? And like, okay, I say where I want to spend Christmas, but that parent that I said it to doesn't really like that because they're going to be alone, so they're mad at me, so they're going to be, shitty and like a bitch to me about it. So I'm often like, so I obviously came up to the solution like, oh, let me tell this parent what they want to hear. I remember vividly that happening to me multiple times. There's no need for a story. I love a story time. But that is a pretty accurate story. Like, any type of event, or like a birthday, or like, where do you want to spend this at? Oh, I want to spend it with these people, or like with dad, mom would be mad. With mom, dad would be mad. And I, in a sense, like, I give compassion because I recognize, like, you want to spend time with your kid. But again, often kids are like made to be amicable, and like, they're forced to be nice so that they can like make the adults, the big people, happy. Like, you're taught to not say your needs so that the people around you can feel happy. And also learning like that just is not true to my nature. I've always really been like a very transparent person. Like, obviously I have a whole fucking podcast giving out all my business, but yeah, I've always been that kid to just say like, how I feel. Like, I remember my mom telling me as a kid, I used to like put myself in a bathroom and like cry. And I think that's so beautiful, but she would say that I was just, tell her that I needed to release my emotions. Oh my God, like, can I get back to him? Like, can I get back to the guy, to the little kid that just like would release my emotions when I needed to release my emotions? Because like, I realized as an adult, when you grow up, also experiencing bullying as you're in school, there was a lot of me that like that had to conform so that other people around me did not hurt me. Other people around me did not treat me poorly. Like, we all experienced the horribleness of middle school and like, having to like wholly conform. I feel like in middle school, I was like such a badass kid. Like, I recognize I'm a very like energetic person, so a part of that was just me. Like, I'm a very chatty Cathy. I'm a chatty Cathy. But a lot of my middle school years were like me trying to conform to people so that they did not like turn against me, if that makes sense. Like, you rather be with them than against them. Like, if I would have pursued my interests or just been maybe more aligned with who I am, like, I probably would have got, ostracized more for being femme, for being gay. I already got that in middle school. But I did my best to just divert the attention from like who I really was by being more like others. So, I obviously did that through middle school, some of it in high school. Like, I just morphed into this person that just became, I don't ever want to say fake because I'm not a fake bitch, but more so just like nice. Like, I've just grown into this nice person because I do believe that I am naturally, like, I am empathetic and I am in tune to people and I like people. I turned it into just like being a chameleon to meet their needs. I recognize I do that with men often. I'm often the partner in the situationships which are, that are tending to their needs. Like, I'm like making myself into the person that they want, even if I'm comfortable or not, And I think that's also a part of me being an anxious attachment style, or having an anxious attachment style, which is basically a fear that, like, unless I grasp onto the love, unless I grasp onto the relationship really hard and basically obsessed with it, it's just gonna run away from me, And I think that is also a part of my childhood and like development, is that like if I was in a certain way, things were very conditional, if that makes sense, Look into attachment styles. It'll like really tell you a lot about your life. But basically knowing that like that's who I was in a relationship, always a partner, like giving, and like, feeling very fearful that if I didn't give and conform to like what he wanted, like I was basically going to be alone and like fearful. Also like talks to like also made me feel like I need to be so available to him, Like I remember in London, like when I was dating this guy, this has nothing to do with like how he acted, but more so just like how I was. Like when I started dating him, I liked him a lot, which was like, I feel like natural, but I didn't really know how to like create boundaries, which is like the key lesson in this fucking episode. To be, even for myself, to be like, okay, Ellis, you like this person, which, you're experiencing all the feels, which is totally natural, whatever. But at the same time, is it healthy? Like, is this healthy, how much time you're giving to this person? Are you focusing on yourself? Are you exploring London, which is one of my biggest like regrets? I explored London so much, but like, did I explore it to the fullest of my ability? Did I, I remember this one Friday in particular, there were probably more days where he wasn't, being a good communicator, and I was just like, what do I do in my life? And like looking back at my, I think then I was like 20. I was like 20, 19. And I can look back then and be like, bitch, go explore. Like, get into some fun shit. Like, no one in this city knows you. And that's neither here nor there. The past is the past. But I see that was just more so a factor into my affliction of being like nice and being anxiously attached to people and like overly attached to people. And I think also an affliction of me, or like a result of me being too nice, is not being able to also like call motherfuckers out on this shit, to be like, hey guy, why are you not being a good communicator? Where like, I thought we were gonna hang out, why didn't that happen? Or like being just clear and concise about how I exactly feel, And that's why I had to get on here and just say, stop being nice, because like I think a lot of us are suffering because we just are so fearful of like what the other person will say. We have fear that like they'll leave us, or that they'll harm us or yell at us, or all these things, which like as a child I understand like is valid. Like as a kid, you're helpless to your parents, you're helpless oftentimes to the adults and the big people in your lives. But I think that as we grow into adults, we need to learn to like, one, to get into that past. Like, you already know I'm gonna say therapy. Ellis is not a therapist. Soon to be though. I really want to be a therapist. Do y'all think I could be a therapist or a life coach? Like, let me know. I need some affirmation right now, okay? But a lot of us are suffering at the hands of other people, and I don't like that. Get into your past. Like, figure out where that came from. Why do you do that if you do it, But then also, like, figure out what your needs are. Like, get very clear on what your needs in any situation is, As going back to that situation in London, like, what I needed from him, that guy, was open and honest communication. Being an anxious attachment style, like having that, I want to say to you, you're not the problem. That is a product of your parents, unfortunately. But, it's also, it's good to recognize that you're not the problem, because then you stop shaming who you are. Like, I know for myself, like, I want to be more secure. And I think a part of being secure, especially coming from an anxious place, is that I need communication. Communication is key. If I am confused, the world is upside fucking down. So I need clear communication. That's what I need in this situation. And then find ways to empower yourself to do that. Like, for me, one of the ways that I did that was by talking to my best friend Gigi, talking to my little sister, and being like, okay, bitch, this is the situation, this is how I feel. And they, especially as like people objective to it, and, outside, and also have a deep love for me, were able to say, okay, bitch, this is what you need to do, and this is what you need to say. So yeah, it's like, where does it come from? What's your need? And then find ways to empower yourself to say that. Do what you do, and also stop running from the situation. There was this guy who, and this is, again, like, to be clear, this is not a shit on the guy. It's no shade there. I've just been chilling here in my own world, figuring it out. This person came into the city, New York, and they wanted to hang out. And I, just being transparent, I know that they like me, or that they like me. I don't fucking know. But I also knew that I personally did not want to hang out. I feel bad saying this because I feel like, oh my God, am I being like too open and honest? I don't fucking know. But I talked about it in the blog, so I'm like, it is what it is. When he said, like, do you want to like hang out, or hey, I'm in your city, I think a lot of people, I'm not just the only person, would just feel automatically, what do you want to say? And also, I'll say, like, whether he likes me or not, or whether it was romantic or platonic, has nothing to do with it. It has more so to do with, like, people telling you things, or people, like, kind of in a sense, like, not to say expecting things, but asking things of you, and you feeling obligated to do it, And I recognize in that situation, I felt some weird obligation to do it, simply because, like, we have a rapport, like, we're connected on Instagram, like, he's in my city, we've talked before or whatever. Yeah, like, I just felt this weird, like, need to be like, yeah, for sure, just to be nice, just to be nice. Also because I had no, like, really, like, clear, like, not to say excuse, because I know in the past, I think that's another thing of an anxious attachment style person, like, you'll think of excuses, or, like, especially if you're unable to fulfill the other person's need, you'll, like, come up with, like, the most elaborate excuse. I was just simply unable to be like, no, for whatever fucking reason, I did not want to, link up, like, be that as it fucking may. So I was like, yeah, for sure. And I knew automatically, like, personally, physically, I did not like that decision for me. I felt really, like, in a sense, kind of sad is the one way to describe it, because it was like, ugh, like, now, and, like, also, like, responsibility was on me. Like, now I need to, like, get out of, like, this state of, like, where I want to be, and then go do something that I don't want to do. But luckily, my girl Ashley, shout out to Ashley, we both found each other, and we both have an anxious attachment style, and we're both in recovery of that, and working to be really secure people. And she told me, like, she really explained to me, like, Ellis, like, this is a factor in your past and why you're unable to just simply say no. You want, like, one, you care about this other person's emotions, which, like, I think is a factor, fortunately, of being, like, a very empathetic person. Like, you don't want to hurt other people. You don't want to disappoint them, even if that's just simply by saying no. But also, it's illogical. That is the word. It's illogical for you to simply say no, and for that to hurt somebody. If that hurts somebody, that is on them. But you have to learn to honor yourself and, like, your needs by saying no. So I was like, girl, you're so right. But when I tell you, say she told me that at 6 p.m., when I tell you, it took me and her on the phone with me, like, an hour to form, like, a little message, simply just, like, to say no, and, like, to also not put myself in wiggle room. I think that's another place that, like, a lot of us do in the sense of being nice, is, like, we'll be like, no, but hit me up when we don't want to be hit up, or, like, no, but let's reschedule when you don't want to really reschedule. It's just like, no. I'm really fucking happy that I did that. Like, I promise you, and this is, like, probably the last step of a little last lesson of what I want to say to you today. Once you get to the point where you are comfortable saying what you need, and you say it, you hit that send button, this is what I did. And I'm happy also Ashley was on the phone to tell me not to do it. I closed my fucking laptop and ran, girl. Like, when I tell you I ran out, I was like, nope, I'm gonna avoid this. No, own it. Own what the fuck you just said. Own it and know that whatever fucking happens, you're gonna be okay. That's another part of like growing up with like parents or guardians or whoever who made you feel anxious. And you know, your safety is that you felt that if you did not go with what they wanted to say, they were going to hurt you. So you either fight or flight. You can't really often fight your fucking guardian. So you run, you avoid, you hide, you do whatever. No, stop hiding. Own that shit. Own and say no. And that person, he said, okay. You know, like the rest of the conversation was very short and sweet and done. And I'm so, and that shows more so like his maturity. And also, you know, my wanting to be that mature and secure in the situation, and not assuming that everyone is like out to hurt me, and also knowing that like whatever happens, be that as it may, I'm okay. Like my girl Ashley's here. My best friend Gigi is still a phone call away. My sister is still, like, you have support. Like, if you're in a situation that you feel very anxious about, like, a tactic that you can do to feel more secure is to think about the people who are there for you and who are going to be able to be there for you, like when if this situation goes awry, which I promise you 9 times out of 10 it's not. So feel strong in your community. Feel strong and very honored in your need for what you need. And sometimes your need is simply to not do what this other person wants you to do, you know? Like with guys, and I think it's like a greater issue that I'm realizing to get over. I've often just like felt that I needed to just like, again, do what they wanted me to do, or like if they wanted my time, give it to them. And it's like, no. If I don't want to, you know, stop being nice. Stop being fucking nice, you know? Or even like, you know, also in this new era of like laissez-faire dating, like realizing, no. Like, yes, I am totally for dating. Like, I think to be able to date freely is fine, perfect. But I know personally for Ellis, like, it comes to a point in the relationship that, bitch, I need a title. I'm not a person that's going to do multiples. Like, if you and me are exclusive, bitch, there ain't no, like, you know, there's just boundaries that I have. And realizing that I need to just, like, say that up front, be, again, clear and communicative, because I'm realizing that like in order for like that guy to be clear and communicative, like I need to like bring those qualities within myself. But that's a whole nother podcast episode. Honor your fucking feelings. Honor what you need. Know that you're safe. Think of those people who are going to be there for you in this situation to back you up, to be like, yeah, this bitch needs good communication. This bitch deserves, you know, a boyfriend, a friend, whatever that's going to do X, Y, and Z, and they better do it. Like, imagine your best friend and be like, hell yeah, bitch, you deserve that shit, go get it, period. Imagine me saying that. I'm saying that to you. You deserve to have your needs met, so create boundaries with these people, and then, like, say it, do it, be honest, because I promise you, you're going to feel so good. Like, it personally felt good to be able to be like, in that situation, but then a lot of other situations in my life recently where I'm like, no. Oh, do you want to go here? No. That was another thing. Like, friends inviting me places, and like, I don't want to go. No. You know, part of me, like, the past me will feel so like, oh, okay, but like, they're going to think that I'm this, and they're going to, you know, I don't want to seem like this. I don't want to see. What if they stop inviting me out? Girl, if someone does some shitty shit to you because you simply just say no, it's time to get some new friends, okay? Yes, period. Honor yourself. And that is honestly really all I have to say. I'm going to sit here and honestly enjoy this really fucking gloomy day. Put on some really shitty TV, to be honest with you, and just vibe out, you know, honor myself, remain in the now, stop being so anxious. And I know that's easier said than done, but like one of the ways that I've really been practicing that, and I could do another whole fucking podcast episode about, is just like again, it sounds so simple, but it is simple. Focusing on the now, like realizing that shit doesn't exist. Like the weird and scary thing that you're thinking about will happen. It won't happen. Or like it's not happening. It's not reality, to be honest. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. So why put your energy in the future or put your energy in the past and just stay in the now and accept what it is. Accept your boundaries. Accept what you need as a person. Yeah. So yeah, that's all I have to say. Again, please be subscribed to the motherfucking podcast. Follow us on Instagram at Confessions of a Queer Ass Black Boy, and black is spelled BLK. And yeah, please feel free to reach out also to the podcast and let me know some topics that you have. If you have any questions or some situations that you want us to talk about on the podcast, please feel free to reach out. I am always openly here for you. Okay, I'm here for you. I am your best friend, letting you know, bitch. You deserve goodness. You deserve greatness. You deserve boundaries, healthy boundaries. Okay, healthy boundaries will make your life so fucking good, so happy. You feel like a load off of you, okay? So yeah. Okay. Over and out, bad bitches. I will see you in the next episode, okay?